So injury update, really not much to talk about here. Jordan Phillips will not practice, and Jordan Poyer will not practice. No new injury situation with either of those two, just trying to manage what they have already. So, and then Micah and Jamison, JC will practice today. Will open up their window, but neither of those two will play this week. So I want to set expectations properly there. So with that, I'll turn it over to you and your questions.
With Damar being released, obviously, this morning, what are the chances that he'll swing by at some point this week to the facility and say hi to everybody?
Yeah, we're, obviously grateful first and foremost that he's home and with his parents and his brother, which is great. I'm sure it's felt like a long time since he's been able to be home naturally there, and I'm sure it's a great feeling. And yeah, we'll leave it up to him. His health is first and foremost on our mind as far as his situation goes, and then when he feels ready, we welcome him back as he feels ready.
Sean, how do you feel? Last week, obviously, we know how unique it was, but how do you feel you guys are prepared to get back to football, a normal week here, getting into, obviously, an important playoff game?
Yeah, that's what we have to do, right? This is a good football team that we've split with this year, and we have a lot of respect for them in terms of what they've done and what they've accomplished this season. So, we've got to get ourselves ready to go.
Just came down on Tua that he's out for this game. You had indicated the other day on Zoom, I think, that you said something to the effect of you had a feeling that you knew which way that was going to go. Did it go the way you expected?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. I just, we just got the news, Adam. So, we'll plan accordingly on that, and obviously getting ourselves ready to go here for Wednesday practice, and based on now that we have a feel for the quarterback there.
One follow, I guess. I mean, that for a lot of us, I think, came down sooner than we expected in terms of getting official word on that. How much does it help you, I guess, honing preparation to have a sense that he won't be in this?
Yeah, I mean, we control what we can control, and again, we're just focused on making sure that we're putting in the work, and knowing obviously gives us some clarity on who's going to be back there.
With Micah Hyde, I mean, you said you're opening his practice window today. What has that whole trajectory been like throughout the season? Because it was originally he was done for the year, and now it seems like there's a slight bit of hope here.
Yeah, credit to Micah and the doctors. He's just been so focused on leading, number one, where in the position he can lead from since he's been out, and then and influencing our team that way, and then now it's him getting back on the field and just taking it one step at a time. So again, we'll just one day at a time right now. So that's really where it's at.
I was going to say, were you at all thinking that this was a possibility when it first happened? Because again, the season-ending stuff was pretty popular here, but now that it's kind of progressed.
Yeah, you never count Micah Hyde out. And I would say the same with JC. I mean, JC's prognosis was, what he went through with the surgery and everything, but those two have just been so positive since they've been back in our building and around, and the way that they've worked to get themselves to have a chance at this point, right? So I think my hat goes off to those guys. I commend them for their work and their mental toughness, and here we are.
Sean, I know we'll ask him what it was like, but from your perspective, what was it like to have Coach Micah for a while, a guy that's been around the players, helping, game days, things like that? What's that been like for you and the team?
Yeah, I think it's been, excuse me, we've been very we've benefited from that. That doesn't happen all the time in terms of a player that goes out, wanting to be around, wanting to be in the meetings, wanting to be on the field, and offering his wisdom, his experience. He's done a great job with that, and again, knowing Micah, and you guys know Micah, it doesn't surprise you, right, that he's wanted to do that and he's done it, and now he gets a chance to get back out there a little bit.
Sean, just to be clear, Damar is home with his parents in Buffalo, not in Pittsburgh.
Buffalo.
Hey, Sean, I know you haven't had to do this too often because Josh has been so reliable and durable, but how challenging do you think it would be if you have to change quarterbacks for a playoff game like this for Miami in terms of, getting a kid ready who really hasn't played that much?
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about their situation or our situation?
I mean, for you as a coach to have to deal with that? How challenging will that be for the Dolphin staff, do you think?
No, I mean that's you know, it's whenever you have a new player in a position, it's always challenging to a certain extent. But he's played, he's on tape, he's played earlier in the year, and then of late again. So you know, other than that, that's the ball's really in their court on that. So, but it's yeah, I mean you go through those things. We've gone through it a lot this year with a lot of injuries, and so you make the most of it and you move forward.
What changes for them with Skylar in there, and what have you noticed from the early tape compared to maybe the recent one?
Yeah, no, I think in the tape that I've seen, I think he looks good. He really does. They've done a good job with him, and he seems to have good command of the offense, and you know, does a good job back there. And so again, we just got to prepare ourselves, get ourselves ready to go here.
Sean, you guys opened the season as preseason Super Bowl favorites in a lot of different places, media, fans, or otherwise. You've gone through now a full regular season with those lofty expectations. What, if anything, has been the impact of those expectations on the team, or maybe even on yourself?
You know, I think we've always tried to put that in the right context, and I think that's the best thing we can do, and that's still the case. You know, we're now in the postseason. I think that's step one, is getting to the postseason, no matter where expectations are. And my hat goes off to the guys because they've battled through some things and gotten here. Now it's for the entire league. Everyone's on a one game season at a time. So that's really where we're at. So you win, you move on. You lose, you go home, and that's the reality of our situation.
Just challenged last year facing the Patriots in the wild card, but just facing a team for the third time that you've just recently faced. You both know each other so well. Just kind of, what do you think about that challenge? What comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. They're very talented. I believe they're well coached. You know, they've got really good speed on their football team. I know a lot gets talked about with 10 and 17 with Hill and Waddle, but their speed extends beyond just those two guys. So I think, you know, defensively they do a great job of, you know, giving you different looks and things of that nature. And then special teams, they've got a really good special teams unit, and it's well coached.
This will be Mike McDaniel's first game as a playoff head coach. What do you remember about your first game as a head coach in the postseason?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's different, right? You know, you're certainly excited, you're amped up, and, you know, I think your perspective is a little bit different that first year. And so, you know, that's really where, when I think back to that first game that we had in Jacksonville. So, yeah.
What do you make of Dean Marlowe and his ability to step in a tough spot? Obviously thankful that you were able to bring him in here when you did.
Yeah, Dean's a trusted player that we've had. He's been around us for a while now, and you know, he's a good steadying force for us, and he knows the defense, and he has good rapport with Jordan and Micah. So he's done a nice job.
Sean, how much was it needed to get a few days of break, to know that Damar Hamlin's home, and just to put that week beside you so you can move forward? How important was that, while keeping your thoughts on Damar, you know,
Yeah.
in his continued recovery?
Yeah, and that's you know, that's what we have to do. Like I said earlier, and Damar is in his health and well-being is number one as far as that goes. Feel really good about where that is, though, and the fact that he's home and with his parents. And you know, for us, as Damar's dad has said to us multiple times, and Damar has mentioned as well, it's, you know, they want us to go do our job, and that's what we've got to do.
This is one of the heaviest blitz teams in the NFL. What type of challenge does that present for you guys, and how have you seen how they've had success with it? I mean, they've done some things pretty well.
Yeah, they do. Like I said, they do a lot of stunting up front and give you different, you know, looks with pressure and bringing pressure, you know, off the edge, up the middle, zero pressure. They do a lot of that, you know, all the different multiple pressure looks, and so it's a challenge for you, and you know, we'll just see where it goes. You know, we saw a lot of it in the first game and some more in the second game, and so that's why we got to get out there on the practice field.
I know you've talked before about the speed of the game for a young player, rookie, from camp to preseason, preseason to regular season, now regular season to postseason, how it ticks up a little bit. How can you prepare them for that in any way?
Yeah, I mean, that's where the preparation comes in. You've got to put the time in, put the work in. That's really what it comes down to is making sure you're prepared to do your job.
Sean, do you remember what you were doing 6 years ago today?
You probably do, though. That's a little weird, but
Sitting in the Ed Pro training center, you got hired 6 years ago.
is that right? Okay, awesome, man. What a blessing. Oh yeah, is this someone's thing? Whose batteries? Yeah, I mean, time does fly by. It's amazing to think about. I have a picture of my family in my office, and Derek and his staff gave it to me, and to see how time flies. Those of you with kids, you just look at your kids and how quickly things change, and just as a good perspective lender for me in my mind of, man, when we got here, my littlest one was, maybe she was, let's see, I think she was just 2 years old or barely, maybe 1.5. So, yeah, it flies by. Very grateful for being here and becoming a part of this community with my family. It's been great.
I recognize that you're not much for self-reflection this week, but
Yeah.
when you think about how far this organization has come in those 6 years, what comes to mind?
Again, a blessing from God, and just feel that there's been a lot of people, like the muscle, if you will, just the amount of work that's gone into it across our organization, in the community. I feel really good about that. I really do. I feel I'm just one part of it, right? One piece of it. Teaming up with Brandon, teaming up with now Ron, and of course Terry and Kim. It's been, you don't realize, everyone wants a job, right? As an assistant coach, you work so hard to get one of the jobs that are out there, and you don't realize how important that fit is with a city, with an owner, and with a GM, and so, and then, the way that our players have handled things is, my hat goes off to those guys as well, because we've got good people in that locker room.
What do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned over these last 6 years?
Boy, you talk about that first playoff game, I guess, like, you think you're ready, and then six years later, what I know now versus what I knew then, maybe. So I think that's what makes it a little bit fascinating, right? Like, you're always growing, you're always trying to improve yourself, and you think you're at a certain spot, but you never really arrive. So you're always just trying to work to improve every day.
Buffalo is such a unique advantage in the playoffs, hosting a playoff game in Buffalo.
Well, I'll start with our fan base. I mean, I think that's where it really starts. And listen, outside of that, it's who plays the best. At the end of the day, that's who's going to win the game. So, our level of play is what's most important. That's where the game will be decided. We love playing in front of our fans, and it's a tough place to play because of our fan base.
Sean, we hear a lot that the game slows down for players the more you rep it. Does the game slow down for head coaches, in particular in the postseason, when you look back to that first one? Have things kind of slow down for you as well?
Yeah, again, that's what I think as whether you're a position coach or a head coach in this case, it does. Experience is a great teacher, and the more you're around it, I was thinking of the many head coaches that you talk about, the Andy Reids, the Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, who have been through so many games just through just multiple seasons. Coach Harbaugh, and how slow the game must be to them. I think there was a stat the other day I saw on television of the amount of times that Baltimore has played whoever they were playing. I think it was Pittsburgh at the time, a couple weeks ago maybe that was, and the amount of times that Harbaugh has faced Mike Tomlin, I think it was up in the 30s or so. That fascinated me, just because just two coaches who have been at it for so long, the wisdom that they have, and how the game has maybe slowed down for them, like you said.
Sean, how do you get your young guys ready, especially the ones who haven't played in a playoff game, because it is such an adjustment?
Yeah, preparation. They've got to put the time in. Obviously, the leaders on our team have to lead by example with focus and preparation themselves, and then it's they've got to do their part. These young guys, no one's going to hold their hand. They've got to get themselves ready to go.
Your team has endured a number of challenges this year. A lot of good news in a short amount of time. Damar Hamlin's progress, Micah Hyde returning to practice. Do you sense the tide might be turning a bit here in a positive direction?
You guys are great, man. This is now we're just focused on this game. Honestly, I appreciate where you're going with that, but this is not a soap opera. So we got one game to get ready for, and that's really what we're focused on. All right, thanks, guys.